in this first week of the season. Let's get you right to the highlights. Ohio State and Indiana. Kyle McCord, the starting quarterback for the Buckeyes. And McCord on a 4th and 2. Ohio State going for it. Hits G. Scott. 10-yard gain, a first down. And later on the drive, it's Mayan Williams. And Ohio State looking pretty good. Well-oiled machine. 7-yard TD run. 7-0 Buckeyes. But the offense would slow from there, going for it on a 4th and 2. And this time McCord is picked off by Philip Dunham, would lead to an Indiana field goal. They cut it to 7-3, and Ryan Day nonplussed. Next Ohio State possession, they bring in Devin Brown, and Andre Carter making a huge play here, the transfer J.
Carter, very explosive off the line of scrimmage. He was in the backfield a lot today against the Buckeyes. Coming
from Western Michigan, here's McCord on a 3rd and goal. Again, a quarterback draw there, and Ohio State would have to settle for a field goal, a 13-3 lead. Still in the 3rd, it is McCord to Cade Stover, 49 yards. Their only play over 30 yards. They had 42 such plays last year. Sets up Ohio State in the red zone, and from there it's Williams' good patience to pound it in. His 2nd touchdown of the game, 20-3. And then the defense looking to seal. The defense played really well, held Indiana to 153 total yards. Brendan Sorsby brought down there. Ohio State does win for the 29th straight time against the Hoosiers. 23-3 the final. Here's Tully Hughes with the winners.
All right, thanks, Coach. First game, first win. How would you assess Kyle McCord's first career start?
Probably have to look at the film and kind of sort it all out. I thought there was some really good moments. I thought he threw a really nice ball and a touchdown that got called back. Had some really good moments. So sort it out after the after the film gets in the system and go from there.
Devin Brown got some playing time as expected. And how tough is it for you to gauge when to assert him and when to just let the rhythm of the game flow?
Yeah, I would have liked to have got him in more, but I kind of felt like Kyle needed to play a little bit more and get into the rhythm of the game. And I was concerned if I had continued to go back and forth, then we would have been completely out of rhythm on offense. We weren't converting on short yardage in the first half. If we had, I probably would have done more. We'll start to get him in more, but I thought Kyle did some good things, and bottom line is you win, but a lot of things to work on.
Kyle, how will you assess your first career start?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to grow from. Definitely excited to get back and watch the film. Some good, some bad. And I'm excited to get on to next week and just keep building.
Your first career drive was an 11-play, 80-yard drive. How much did that help you ease into the game?
Yeah, it was good. I think, the guys around me did a really good job. We ran the ball well on that drive, and then a few quick throws, letting the guys get some run after the catch. And so overall, just, getting the ball in the playmakers' hands and letting them do their thing.
And what will you take outside of the dub out of this game?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot to learn. I think practice and the game is definitely different. And although there were definitely some good plays in there, there's definitely some things to clean up. So I'm excited to get back, watch the film, and see what I can improve upon.
We just got to keep working. I mean, it's one of those situations where, we know what's ahead of us, what we got to do. And I want to see a lot of growth between week 1 and week 2. We say it all the time. It's very, very true. We knew we didn't have any margin for error week 1 because of our opponent. But at the same time, the growth is still expected between week 1 and week 2. I'm not going to sit here and be negative because that's not who I am. It doesn't serve any purpose. It doesn't help us get any better.
We'll dive into the Hoosiers in just a bit, but Ohio State is clearly the biggest story here. And look, a win's a win, and I know the bar is extremely high. They set the bar very high in Columbus. They measure themselves by whether or not they're a national championship caliber team. There's going to be a lot of talk about McCord. Remember, he did have the one game a couple years ago where he played when C.J. Stroud was out. But other than that, this is the most significant action that he has seen, and at times, frankly, it was underwhelming. What did you guys take from the entire offensive effort from Ohio State?
It wasn't explosive. We're used to seeing Ohio State be explosive, big chunk plays. You mentioned 42 plays of 30 yards or more. They had one in this game. I saw more 2 tight end and 2 back sets than I've seen in a very, very long time. I don't know if Jim Tressel was coaching the offense because he used to love that set, right? But I'm saying when you look at them, and we said, hey, can they run the football when they run the football? They were trying to make a statement they can run the football. but I wanted to see some big chunk plays. They have athletes all over the field. I know they were trying to help Kyle McCord with running the football and maybe some easy play action, but it looked a little mundane in that first half.
Yeah, it seemed like they were trying to ease them into the game. They weren't taking too many shots down the field. They're trying to get the running game going. On 3rd and 2, they're lining up 2 tight ends, running the football, handing it to Mayan Williams, where we're used to seeing them spread out, 4 wide receivers, still taking shots down the field. So that aggressive mindset didn't seem like it was there. So next week I want to see them kind of figure out what he feels comfortable doing, what he does best, and allow him to do that, whether it's RPOs, taking shots down the field, feel like he has to meet with the offensive staff, and feel like and tell them what he truly feels confident in and allow them to do that.
The issue is, and you were talking about this earlier, James, they just didn't get their biggest weapons involved.
Absolutely.
I mean, to have wide receivers like Marvin Harrison and Emeka Ibuka and to have them essentially be non-factors in the game, they're too talented to allow that to happen.
Oh, for sure. Those guys, even when they're covered, you can still throw them the football. They can go up and make some amazing catches. So when you see that one-on-one coverage with Marvin Harrison Jr., if they're going to do it, still throw the ball to him. I think Kyle McCord just has to give him a chance a little bit more often.
2 catches for 18 yards from Marvin Harrison Jr. for the best receiver or just the best athlete in all of college football, not enough.
Just the 11th time in 52 games under Ryan Day that Ohio State has failed to score 30 points. Second time this century they haven't scored a touchdown pass, haven't thrown a touchdown pass in their season opener. What about Indiana? I give a lot of credit to that Hoosier defense because
Absolutely.
They had something to do with this. Offensively, wasn't a whole lot going on, and perhaps we should give the credit to Ohio State's defense, which was so maligned a season ago. I think we'll learn more as the season goes on. But what did you take from watching Indiana and this kind of new-look option attack?
I thought the defense played well. They held their own against a high-powered offense. They held them to only 23 points, which was very impressive to me. On the offensive side of the ball, I think they're still trying to find their identity. Both quarterbacks played, but I think Brendan Sorsby is going to be the guy going forward. He stood in the pocket at times, made some good throws. Receivers weren't creating too much separation, but I think they just have to figure out what they want to be. Are they going to keep doing the triple option? Are they going to be a drop-back pass team? They're going to run the ball 30 times a game. What is it going to be? What does Tom Allen want to do on the offensive side of the ball?
When Tom Allen's had success at Indiana, he's won the turnover margin in a big way. We saw the only way they got points was a turnover. That pick set them up for a field goal, right? And so if they don't win that turnover battle, it's going to be very difficult for them. That's their identity. They got to get turnovers. They got some guys on defense. Andre Carter, Aaron Casey played well. We're physical at times against that Ohio State running attack, but they need more from those guys to make a difference.
And offensively, just 153 total yards for IU. Just really hard to win games when your offense is stuck in neutral in that way. We take a look at our auto owners insurance game leaders, and it is the Buckeyes' dominance of Indiana and dominance in general in season openers. 24th straight season opening win. That's the longest streak in the nation. Also their 31st straight win against unranked opponents. That is also the longest active streak nationally. And wins it by the final of 30-3. Wilson had 4 TDs all of last year. He had 3 in this game. Post-game reaction, starting with the QB.
I get this weird feeling because I feel so good. Like last year I was dealing with the shoulder injury, dealing with the quarterback battle, and there was just a lot of resistance and a lot of stuff to push through, and this one just felt effortless. It felt, uplifting every single snap. It just felt like, everything was going right, and it was a beautiful feeling. And that man right there is one of the most special players in the country. I'll say it right here, right now. There's not many DBs or corners or safeties, any of them that could guard that guy. So I'm just blessed to have him on my team.
I mean, I was just doing my job out there, run my route. I ran it in practice. If he puts the ball near me, I got to catch it. Talking about the third touchdown, if I had to be honest, man, I was out there, I was dying. It was hot. Like, I know I'm from Hawaii, but it was hot out there today. I just knew that I had an opportunity to come open. He threw me the ball, so every opportunity I get, I got to take advantage of it. Playing in this offense with a guy like this, like elite running backs, 2 of them, I got to take advantage of every opportunity I get out there.
I think if there was a question mark about this team, maybe 1 or 2, one of them would be who's going to step up and be the dominant wide receiver. Roman Wilson certainly stepped to the forefront in this one, James. What'd you think, just in general, the offensive performance here from the Wolverines?
I think they're a team that likes to win in the trenches every single week. I think East Carolina, they really were more physical at the line of scrimmage today. I think Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, they really struggled to break off those big runs. I know Blake Corum had a 37-yard run, but other than that, they had them contained for the most part. So I think they get back to the drawing board, relook at their identity and be more physical up front next week.
And J.J. McCarthy was special, though. And what I liked, the stats were great, right? 26 for 30, threw the ball all over the yard. But what he does, he scrambles to create throwing lanes and then throw the football. Not necessarily scrambles to run. And I saw him work through his options. On that Roman Wilson touchdown pass, he checked the flat route first, looked off to safety, then hit Roman Wilson. Those are things I think he's matured into now in his second full year as a starter. That's going to take this offense to the next level where they can rely on JJ when the run game isn't clicking on all cylinders to get those key first downs.
Pretty clear he's having fun.
Yes, yeah, I would say so.
With a lot of joy. Michigan now 20-0 in non-conference home games in the Jim Harbaugh era. They get another one coming up next week against UNLV. 7th-ranked Penn State hosting West Virginia. First meeting since 1992 for these once annual rivals. Pick it up in the first quarter. We are scoreless, but not for long. Drew Aller, this is special. Stepping up, throwing on the move to Keandre Lambert-Smith, who does the rest. 72-yard touchdown, 94 yards in 4 plays, and Penn State on top 7-0. West Virginia answering. C.J. Donaldson ties it up at 7. Ensuing Penn State possession, though, it is Nick Singleton. Set the Penn State freshman touchdown record a year ago. Gets his first of the season there and puts the Nittany Lions on top 14-7. Then it is Aller again. A play action.
Bucket ball in the corner.
Beautiful. The Lambert-Smith there. Aller was 21 of 29, 325 yards and 3 TDs. Abdul Carter getting in on the act with a big stop on a 4th and 2. The Nittany Lions taking over on downs there. And then later in the 4th, it is Aller to Malik McClain, 25 yards for the touchdown for the transfer from Florida State as the Nittany Lions win at 38-15. Hannah Mears getting the post-game reaction.
Coach, 110,000 plus for the win over West Virginia tonight. This is the 4th largest crowd ever in Beaver Stadium. How do you describe the Week 1 spectacle?
Yeah, it's awesome. This is a special place. Has been that way for a long time. So to get this type of support on the opening game is awesome.
For Drew Aller to get starting experience in front of this crowd, how much is this going to speed up his development?
Well, he looked like the same guy he did last year in a limited time. So that's awesome to see. You never know when a guy becomes a starter if it changes. But he looked poised, he was consistent, made plays. I was proud of him. Well, I thought they did a good job. Their O-line is very good. I thought the quarterback is going to be a problem for a lot of people. He's mobile, he keeps his eyes up, he's accurate on the run. I thought their offensive line played well, but in the second half, we were able to get off the field.
Just the win in general. The win's the most important thing at the end of the day, and it was a total team effort. It wasn't just one guy or one group that did well tonight. Defense had the offense's back when we didn't get a touchdown or get points, and special teams, they did their thing tonight. We have all the confidence in Sander in the world, so when he gets his next opportunity, he'll knock it through the goalpost for us. But really just savoring this win. I mean, we don't get many chances in football to go out and play an actual game, so we just got to savor every moment.
I know you're not ever going to pick favorites, but a favorite of yours looked to be Keandre Lambert-Smith tonight. Why is that connection so magnetic between the two of you?
Yeah, I think it just goes back to the summer when we were able to get back in up here for the summer. Putting in work, throwing 3-4 times a week with all the receivers, tight ends, and quarterbacks really paid off. Our chemistry is really good right now. We just got to keep building on it, and whole receiving room as a whole tonight did a really good job. I think we just got to focus on the 1-0 mentality that Coach Franklin always preaches. We can enjoy this win tonight, but as soon as it gets on to tomorrow, we watch the game, we have to put it behind us and focus on next week's opponent.
Next week's opponent, the Fighting Blue Hens of Delaware, but let's focus in on this one first. Over 300 yards passing and 3 touchdowns in the season opener. Only 2 Penn State quarterbacks have ever done that. He has done it now, and Darrell Clark was the other one. So Drew Aller already in some pretty good company. Man, he is impressive. He is physically impressive, and he just has such a great feel for the game, James.
Yeah, he's physically gifted, but I was truly impressed with his mobility. He was stepping up in the pocket, movement in the pocket, making the plays down the field, making throws on the run, getting the ball to his receivers. If he can throw the ball like that week in and week out with that running game that they have, this team can go a very long way this year.
A lot of times quarterbacks can zip the ball in there. Some of them have great touch. He certainly has both, right? We saw bucket balls. We saw him put on the money. Even some of his incompletions, Dave, you said in the green room, they look good. The incompletions look good, right? But what I would say is this. I looked at Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. People sometimes call them the big three. The best athletes on the field today, at least from what I saw from today's performances, goes to Penn State. They look scary good in the secondary. We talked about Abdul Carter at linebacker. The guys at running back, Kaytron Allen, Nick Lucille, built different. They're just built different. The guys they have on the edge at receiver, built different. Watch out for the Nittany Lions. I think they were the most impressive team athletically in the whole conference.
They are a really good-looking team. We saw it when we were at camp. Frankly, they looked really good, and you saw the results of that here today. This is an awfully good team. 8 straight games now, scoring 30 or more points. That is tied for the longest streak nationally with Alabama. Again, Delaware next week, and then Big Ten opener at Illinois the following week. How about Wisconsin taking on Buffalo? The Badgers, of course, the West favorites, and this was the debut for Luke Fickell as Wisconsin's head coach. Pick it up early on. Ches Malusi takes it in for the touchdown. Badgers on top 7-0. We've heard a lot about the air raid attack. Tanner Mordecai coming over from SMU, firing a dart there to Chimere Dike, who takes it in for the touchdown, and the Badgers on top 14-7. I got your air raid right here, though, James. How about Malusi on the ground?
I got to love it right here. A little inside zone play. He hits the crease, making defenders miss left and right, has the speed to take it the distance. Air raid. Still got to hand the ball off to those backs.
Indeed you do. And Phil Longo has said, hey, I want to run the ball. And you saw evidence of that here today as Braylon Allen had a huge game as well. He went for 141. The Badgers win at 38-17. First win as Wisconsin's head coach for Luke Fickell.
Obviously, the number one objective is win a ball game, and we won a ball game today. It wasn't exactly maybe the way we envisioned. I think the thing that we stressed this entire week was about the ability to play clean. But they came in at half. They didn't bat an eye. That they, you could see it in their faces that they, didn't love exactly where they were. But the idea was, hey, how do we handle some adversity? How do we bring ourselves out the second half and make sure that we don't let those things affect us from the first half, make the adjustments, and get back to being who we need to be.
I should clarify, they did win the bowl game with Luke Fickell as the head coach. His first regular season win as Wisconsin's head coach. We had heard a lot about the air raid. Now, I'm not minimizing it. I'm not trying to be funny, right? But the bottom line is Phil Longo had made it very clear that, hey, I like to run the ball. We're going to run it when we have the strategic advantage to run it, when the box count favors us running it. And, James, they ran it all over Buffalo in the second half.
Yeah, Ches Malusi, Braylon Allen, they're going to be the backbone of this offense. I know they're going to have more receivers on the field, but that's just going to create more separation in that box for them to make plays like Ches Malusi did today. And Tanner Mordecai, he has all the arm talent in the world. He just has to protect the football. Had 2 interceptions today. I know one of them probably wouldn't have existed if Skylar Bell would have caught the ball on that deep pass on a would-be touchdown. So I think they just got to clean up a few things. But overall, I thought they faced a little bit of adversity, but the running backs helped carry them to a victory.
No doubt this program is in transition of new styles, right? They're not going to be ready-made in week one, but you even saw them from the first to the third, fourth quarter really grow in the identity that they want to do. They opened it up more and ran using the box numbers to their advantage. Malusi, Braylon Allen, they are a load. We had a lot of defensive backs for Buffalo making business decisions, guys. They were saying, no, Braylon Allen with the head of steam. They sidestep and jump on his back to see if I could get him down.
And they did throw it. Wisconsin, I mean, Tanner Mordecai completed 24 passes as the most for a Badger quarterback in his debut since at least 1968. Okay. So it wasn't only pounding it on the ground. I mean, the beauty of it is they can do both, and that's what this attack is premised on.
Yeah, to me, they can still throw the football. I think the receivers have to do a better job of creating more separation for him. I know at times the offensive line gave him plenty of time to throw the football, but the receivers just weren't open, and he scrambled and tried to make plays. I know in the interception, he threw it late to the tight end on a drag route, and the safety undercut it. So I think they just have to gel a little bit more when it comes to the passing game, but they still have a lot of potential when it comes to that.
They will head on the road, go to the Palouse, take on Washington State. Coming up next week, Washington State looking pretty good on Saturday, so that might. Iowa hosting Utah State. Of course, the debut of Cade McNamara as the Hawkeyes QB. It was a good debut, an auspicious debut. His first pass as a Hawkeye is a touchdown. Seth Anderson, son of Flipper, 36-yard TD. First opening drive touchdown pass to start a season for the Hawkeyes since 1991. And then later in the first, it's McNamara to Eric All, his former Michigan teammate. They had 139 yards in the first quarter, just 145, though, the rest of the game. McNamara there to Luke Lachey, who had 7 receptions, keeping a drive alive on a 3rd and 11. And Caleb Johnson punching it in later in that drive as Iowa goes on to win it by the final of 24-14. Let's get the reaction starting with McNamara.
To be honest, I'm kind of excited that we were able to see some adversity for the first time. I didn't want it to be, just a cakewalk, and for us to just see a bunch of success. Like, it's important for us as a new group that's trying to connect even more, in game situations. A lot of the guys are just really eager, even though, we already won the game and, a level of celebration has already begun. I think a lot of the guys are really eager to just go back and watch the film and get better.
First and foremost, the objective is to win a game, and hopefully our guys understand it's rarely easy. Sometimes it is, but not too often, that's for sure. And then the most critical thing is there are going to be a lot of good teaching things from this ball game. We came out, I thought, with really good energy, had a lot of good momentum going in all 3 phases, and then got stopped on the 4th down and really seemed to be a drop-off at that point, and just some things that we're going to have to get cleaned up, certainly.
That was the first time since 1991 that Iowa's had a passing touchdown on their opening drive of the game. Did you have an idea that you wanted to...
That's good trivia. Yeah, I'd never would have said it, so, yeah.
Did you have an idea that you wanted to at least let Cade maybe show off for the fans a little bit to start the game?
Nah, we're not that, not cerebral. We're just trying to score.
Kirk, not a guy to say, hey, let's go out there and show off, right? That's not really his MO. Look, this is a highly scrutinized offense. We all know the storylines. They certainly looked good early on. They were up and down, I'd say, the rest of the way. What did you ultimately take from the debut of Cade McNamara and what they hope will be a little bit higher powered attack?
Yeah, same plays, same tight end play, different quarterback. But I will say this, they had some more explosive pass plays. They also had better offensive line play, although I was disappointed to see they gave up 9 negative plays offensively. This is an offense that can ill afford to go backwards. It's an improvement, but it's the same scheme. We'll see how much Cade McNamara can make a difference.
I think Cade McNamara is the guy for the job. The receivers, tight ends, they have to do a better job of getting open for him. I know they had a few big plays down the field. The tight end, was the leading receiver again. I know the tight end led them in receiving last year, so it wouldn't surprise me if Luke Lachey was the leading receiver at the end of the year. But 2.4 yards per carry, Iowa versus Utah State, Iowa's a team that's built in the trenches. They got to do a better job of blocking up front, get the ball to Caleb Johnson, allow him to make some explosive plays in the run game.
They were held under 300 yards. It's the 11th time in 14 games going back to last year. We all know the benchmark that they need to hit on average 25 points per game, got to 24. Hopefully they can make it up somewhere along the line.
Well, Phil Parker's known to get some defensive touchdowns every now and then, right? I mean, they score a lot on defense.
Look, in all seriousness, it was better. Cade McNamara threw some really nice balls out there today. That first touchdown pass would have been the longest touchdown pass of the year for Iowa last year. So Rome wasn't built in a day. Getting better there for the Hawkeyes offensively. They go to Iowa State coming up next week. How about Illinois taking on Toledo? Very first drive. You want to talk about clicking offensively. Illinois' first drive was great. Josh McCray from a yard out punches it in. They're up 7-0. Luke Altmaier, the new quarterback, went 5 for 5 on the drive, and everything was rosy. Just before halftime, though, with Toledo down 7-6, that's DeQuan Finn to Jerwan Newton, who is the brother of Johnny Newton of Illinois. You see mom in the stands, the divided loyalties among the family. Toledo led at 12-7 at the break. Now, third quarter, Miles Scott, this is a huge play, James.
It's a huge play. Good job reading the quarterback's eyes, taking the risk of jumping the pass, scores a touchdown for the defense.
They were down 12 points, but that pulls them back closer, and then it's Altmaier to Pat Bryant for the touchdown. The Illini take a 20-19 lead, went for 2, didn't get it. Altmaier to Bryant again. 2 touchdown catches for him. That equals last year's total. Went up by 8 to the Illini at 27-19. But Toledo, this is a preseason pick to win the MAC. They won it last year as well. They battled back. They take the lead there at 28-27 on a 4th and 4. Altmaier throwing it up for Casey Washington, who comes down with it. And Illinois still has life. Caleb Griffin drills a field goal in the closing seconds, and Illinois escapes. 30-28 is the final. Megan McEwen with the Illini.
We still had a couple penalties. We gave them 10 points off of 2 defensive penalties where they got a field goal and a touchdown. We have to eliminate that. But for our first game, I think we'll grow the most from game 1 to game 2. Obviously, a very tough Kansas team coming up next, so we got a short turnaround, but excited about this team. They're fun to coach.
What did you learn about your team's toughness tonight?
I like the resiliency. There's a lot of things a lot of people might have folded up, but they kept coming, kept grinding, and I like the way our guys persevered.
Luke, 211 yards, 2 touchdowns for you tonight. What allowed you to find a rhythm early?
I just think my teammates, I'm just so thankful they put their trust in me. I think Coach B, it's my first time out here, and there's a lot of emotions going on, but, it was a little up and down. Man, I'm so thankful for those teammates, my offensive line, my defense, receivers, Caleb Griffin, kicking the game-winning kick. Shout out to those guys. They carried me through it.
4th and 4, you throw a 33-yard bomb down the field to Casey Washington. What did you see on that play?
Not much, honestly. I kind of got hit, throwing it up in the air, threw a prayer, to be honest with you. And Casey Washington, really saved our game. And he's a tremendous player. He worked so hard, and he earned that moment. And I'm like I said, my teammates, honestly, they're the best.
You have to appreciate the honesty there. Illinois was outgained by 42 yards. Toledo had 8 more first downs than the Illini did, but when Illinois needed to play, they got to play. It's a huge win, Jay.
Isaiah Adams goes out, their right tackle, goes out. Josh Kessie comes in, gets beat by the defensive end. There is a defensive end in Altmaier's face. He throws up a prayer, says, I didn't see much. And Casey Washington draping him just comes down on 4th and 4. Incredible, gives him new life. They get the field goal. Luke Altmaier was the story of this game. Without Luke Altmaier, his arm, his ability to move the chains with his feet was the difference. Disappointed to see Illinois' defense struggle in the trenches against a pesky, very resilient Toledo Rocket team, but they're going to have to improve as conference play looms.
To me, it's the penalties. The 10 penalties for 100 yards were very untimely. 2 of them on defense on 3rd down resulted in 10 points overall. They don't score those 10 points right there. They probably win by 10 or 15 points. So they can clean that up. They give themselves a better chance to win.
This was the 3rd most penalized team in the Big Ten. Last year, you saw some residue from that, although most of it was in the first half, but a very damaging one in the second half that nearly cost them the game. The operative word, though, there is nearly. Maryland taking on Towson, Mike Loxley's alma mater. We pick it up early in the first. Leah Tungavailoa on the scramble and able to get to the end zone. Maryland takes the early 7-0 lead. Same score still in the first. Tungavailoa to Corey Dyches, who had 6 catches, a career-high 108 yards, able to extend here and just does break the Plains. So the Terps on top 14-0. More from Tagovailoa, went 22 of 33, 260 yards and 3 passing touchdowns. Ja'Shawn Jones is moved to get into the end zone there, 21-0, still in the first quarter. And then it's Leah to Caden Prather, transfer from West Virginia, hauling that one in. Maryland wins it 38-6 as the Terps improved to 3-0 all-time against Towson. Justine Ward got the reaction.
Coach, Taulia's day was done in the third quarter, but how do you evaluate his start to the season?
I thought he started out really well. Hit some big plays. We missed a couple, but we worked really hard on the deep ball, and he had a couple early on that should have been catches. But I like the way he played for us. Our biggest jump is usually from game 1 to game 2. I like to see us just clean up the things that the self-inflicted wounds on offense. Defensively, probably they gave up a little too much rushing yards. Didn't get the turnovers that we need to get, but all in all, it was a good game for the Terps. Really excited for us.
There's always some things that we can continue to fix, but I think we're on the right track, and like you said, this is just a start to our season, and our main goal is just to go 1-0 every game. If everyone does their job, then everyone gets the ball, and in this offense, everyone eats. So I'm happy that 5 different people got to get in the end zone. I love Maryland. I love College Park, and we got to give the fans. We had a great crowd today, and we're just trying to give them what they deserve.
17th straight win when opening the season at home for Maryland. This was pretty much what you would expect, guys. Did you take anything significant from it?
Lots of athletes at receiver. They always seem to have athletes, whether it's Caden Prather or Ja'Shawn Jones or Corey Dyches. They had tons of players for Tagovailoa to throw to. Again, explosive in the passing game.
Yeah, Mike Locksley all offseason talked about the connection on the deep ball. They took plenty of shots in the first half. I think he threw the ball 30 times in the first half, so that was the emphasis going against a lesser opponent. They made some connections, but they still have some chemistry to build on.
Got Charlotte coming up at home next week. How about Purdue taking on Fresno State? This, of course, the debut of Ryan Walters as the head coach of the Boilers, and he went in the transfer portal and got himself an awfully good quarterback in Hudson Card. It's Deion Burks, though, doing the damage here, guys, making 5 different players miss 84 yards here, James, before all is said and done.
That's a heck of a play right there, catching the ball on the slant, breaking 4 tackles. It looks like he's running a 4-2 to the end zone right there.
That was longer than any play from scrimmage last year for Purdue. Burks had a huge game, 4 catches, 152 yards, 2 TDs. Fourth quarter, Fresno State up by 4. How about the wheels there from Dylan Thieneman to close on that ball and pick it off? First turnover of the game for the Purdue defense, and they get a little momentum. Crazy legs, Maccabee, 11-yard score. Purdue back on top at 35-32, but Fresno so resilient. This is a team that had won 9 straight coming in. Mikey Keene to Eric Brooks there. Second TD of the game for Brooks. And then last chance for Purdue on a 4th and 2. Card's pass is tipped away. 10 straight wins now for Fresno State as Ryan Walters' debut is ruined at Purdue.
I felt like we played a little too passive at times. I thought we were pressing as the game was tight, pressing to make plays. And obviously, going 11-17 on third down, it is hard to play good defense when you extend drives. And so obviously this is disappointing. Nobody wants to start off with the loss. But we've also talked about how adversity is guaranteed, and it's about how we react. Didn't expect adversity to hit us in the mouth game 1. But we will get better from week 1 to week 2. This team will continue to get better as the season goes. Didn't work out the way we wanted it to work out, but our confidence is not shaken.
Fresno's a really good team. They won the Mountain West a year ago. You've got Jeff Tedford, who's a really good offensive mind. But still, the defense struggled in this game, James.
They couldn't get off the field on third down, gave up a lot of big plays. They could not cover Eric Brooks. He was open on almost every single third down, made a lot of huge plays in this game, like 11 receptions, 170 yards. So they're going to have to clean that up. I know Ryan Walters likes to play a lot of man coverage, but he has different personnel than what he had at Illinois, so they may have to switch up their scheme a little bit.
Yeah, they got schemed up a little bit. Lots of crossing routes, leaving guys on island. They're going to have that single high safety and man-free coverage. and Jeff Tedford picked it apart a little bit, right? But I will say offensively, Hudson Card was impressive. He's a guy that's going to throw for a lot of yards under Graham Harrell, and their air raid attack, I think he's going to be a great fit for Purdue, and they're going to get better, right? This is the first game under Ryan Walters. They're certainly going to get better, and that defense is going to be a work in progress. It's not instant.
This is a tough opponent to face in your opener. Fresno
opponent.
State is very good. It's their 5th win over a Power 5 team in the last 5+ years. It is tied for the most of any Group of 5 team with Air Force. Again, this is kind of what they do. Purdue's got to go on the road next week to Virginia Tech. This is a challenging schedule. You get Syracuse after that, so no real breathers here in year 1 for Ryan Walters.